wondering if we can think of a better word than fill to talk about this issue, because it makes it sound like the land is empty, and it should be stronger. I think dumping is a good word, but maybe somebody can think of a better word, but let's not use the word fill anymore, because I think it sounds bad.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily bad, but we don't know, because it could be contaminated. It could be, a lot of it is, in fact, clay that's been dumped here, which reconfigures the entire drainage pattern, and who knows what consequences that has. That's one of the biggest problems. There's a lot of water that moved across this farm, this site. There were a series of ponds. Now they're completely gone. Same amount of water is coming down the hill and falling from the skies. The reconfiguration of drainage patterns, which probably affects adjacent lands, and almost certainly something is going into Elk Lake as a result of this, because it drains right across the field over to Elk Lake. So it's significant. But I take your point. Phil makes it sound like the land was empty and there was a working farm here, and one that probably most of the people here today visited and used. It's also part of one of the nicest runs of farm in all of Saanich. This valley and the farms on either side of Oldfield Road are one of the most beautiful sections in Saanich of consistently farmed land. When this kind of thing happens, it starts to break up the integrity of the farmland. And I think one of the worst things, and I mean they're all too nice to say it, but it demoralizes the people who are stewards of the land and who are gainfully employed in farming, making a living from it. It's demoralizing to watch this happen and to not have agencies intervene to stop it. And there was lots of notice. So that's something that needs to change. Anyway, yes?
I would just like to suggest that the minister really needs to look at his ALC staff and say, okay, we don't have the staff, we don't have the funds, but it is so easy to, once you see a development list starting and there's notification being given, that a consultant be hired to investigate that, provide the required remediation or whatever is required, and charge that property with the consulting fees. And the ALC has absolutely no cost except to order that. And then to enforce that order through either a charge against the title of that land or to the taxes. And to me, it seems a relatively simple answer in terms of dealing with it. We've dealt with this for 17 years on Bear Hill Road. We've dealt with Babe's Honey here for 3 years. Now we're starting to see another property right next to us with dumping. I'm not sure if there's a permit there or not, and nobody seems to have an answer. And you're right, we are starting to give up in terms of why are we bothering to report? Because no action happens, and if action does happen, it maybe gets stopped, but it never gets remediated. And I think that's a real fault in the ALC and not being able to enforce their regulations that have been in place and have protected agricultural lands for so many years, and we should continue that.
Thanks. Anybody else want to make a comment or anything? Well, I'm going to invite people. I want to take a moment if there are any questions, but I'd like to invite people to take a wander up to the hill just for a look at what unpermitted dumping of construction, surplus construction waste or materials does. Did I do okay?